And we are live. Let me double check YouTube to make sure that the stream is going well. And for you, the rude person in the comments section, I've turned on the game audio this time. For you. Don't be mean. It was a mistake. Cut me some slack. Yeah, it's looking good. Let some of y'all folks filter in here. Let me know if the audio sounds good and all, and then we can get this party started. Yo, says Berries. Frog blast to the vent core. Yeah, we do need to do that. The one that's not as good as Doom. No, it's not as good as Doom. Okay, but that doesn't stop Marathon from being very fun. But it is very much not as good as Doom. Preferences, graphics. We're gonna be overriding some of the, you know, typically, like, I like to meet these games on their own terms, you know. I prefer to play it in, like, if it's an older title, play it at a deliberately lower resolution. If the game's designed frame rate was 30 FPS, I play it at 30 FPS and stuff. But Marathon is a very different case, where it wasn't like Doom. You know, Doom was like this beautiful, like, how did they get it so right? It had never been done before. Marathon was like, well, that was a great first attempt. That's the best way I can describe Marathon. So I will be modifying a couple of the things to make it more comfortable to play. Transparent liquids. Yeah, we'll do that. I want to see what some of these things are. I can't wait to buy a colony ship for sale cheap. Andrew, I played Marathon. Oh man, it's one of my biggest, like, kicking myself in the shins. I was planning a massive video detailing the original Marathon trilogy and what it was about back in 2019, I want to say. And I played through it, and colony ship for sale cheap, that level, I beat it, okay? I did end up beating it, but that level single-handedly deflated any interest I had in playing any more Marathon games, unfortunately. So here, we are going to quickly quit the game and then reboot it, because the opening to Marathon is just so awesome when you boot up the game. And it happened too fast. The Elgato whatever. Okay, never mind. Basically, it's a black screen that says somewhere in the heavens they are waiting. And that is, like, the most ominous and cool thing in the world. Are you going to play the new Marathon? Probably. I've been trying to play these myself. It's hard because they're so old, LOL. I don't really get into FPS games until after the Doom stage of quality, so Halo. I wouldn't even say, like, Marathon's hard to get into because it's old, because, like, the original Doom existed around this time. It's just that Marathon is a clunky game. Even for the time period, it was a clunky game. But we will start. Are you going to play the new Marathon? Oh, I forgot to answer that. Yeah. I mean, of course I am. It's a Bungie game. You know? Oof. Okay, that, hang on. This is... Aiming does not feel particularly good. I wonder if I can Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. I've got my mouse. I can just turn down the sensitivity on my mouse. So, Bungie's first rodeo. We are not fighting the Covenant. We are fighting the Four. And those are the Four. Those bug guys. I don't know if they've done it for this port, but you couldn't reload, like, manually. You had to wait until your gun was empty in the original Marathon. Okay, keys. Tab, there we go. Tab is how you interact with things. So the Marathon came under surprise attack from unknown hostile forces. The Marathon has suffered serious damage. Sustained. At 08:30 hours, alien forces boarded the Marathon. Sorry, I got distracted by my dog. The current situation is dire. All personnel are required to arm themselves and fight for their lives. Welcome to the Marathon. I'm Leela, one of the 2 surviving artificial intelligences aboard the Marathon. I have been severely damaged, and I'm working to understand the current situation. Find the teleport terminal located in the hangar's control room. By that time, I should have a better idea of what is going on. So, very, very familiar. We get woken up, and we're in a ship, and it's being boarded and attacked by hostile alien forces. And there is an artificial intelligence that is asking for our help. It's like, I wonder if these guys made Halo. And then, of course, you got that Marathon logo, which has become, like, iconic. Oh, boy. We might even have to, if we're going to keep, like, doing some of these, like, these Bungie-type games, you know, the Halo games and stuff, we'll probably have to eventually do, like, a stream of the Destiny 1 campaign, you know? Because there's some interesting stuff there. Like, maybe not necessarily the story, but more interesting because of what it was supposed to be before it was rewritten. And the fact that there are a lot of remains of that original story that are still in that original campaign. But, there's the map. Do we go this way? Or is this the way that we came? Alright, good. Word to the wise, make sure you play Pathways into Darkness before Marathon Infinity. Oh, yeah. I've seen the Mandalore gaming video. Well, all of his videos on the various Bungie games. There's that freaking thing. I love that thing. Like, that is a cool design for an alien. What are they called? Compilers, I think? And, I mean, it says something about, like, the compiler that thing... It's like, okay. With Marathon, the Marathon guy, he's not, like, the most iconic thing ever. Like, Master Chief is iconic. Doom guy is iconic. Marathon guy is not iconic. You know, like, yeah, the helmet is cool, but, like, he's cool to, like, Marathon fans and Bungie fans, you know? But the compiler and the Marathon logo, I would argue, are, like, the iconic aspects of this IP. And it says something that those are the things that they really, really showed off in the Marathon reveal trailer, that CGI trailer. It was like, look, the Marathon logo looks a little bit different in this game. And that compiler sure looks spooky. Where are we? I have a feeling I'm going to lose patience very fast. I gotta... Here, you know what? Actually, we are going to hop over to the main menu, because I'm going to do that thing where I can overlay the map over my gameplay. so I can see where I'm going, you know. Alex Seropian did a great job with the soundtrack for this game. Yeah, the soundtrack is really good for Marathon 1. It's some of it is like really haunting and just kind of like atmosphere building, even though it's like very primitive sounding. And it's kind of wild that they just didn't do, like, for the sequel, from what I understand, Marathon 2, it's just like silence. Like, there's just no soundtrack because some person at Bungie said that it wouldn't make sense because where's the music coming from? Which is like, you know, like, hey, Bungie, where'd the main menu for the game come from? Bungie from the past? Svit compiler slave species under the 4. Yeah, the compiler's just a freaking cool looking thing. Just a space wizard. And it's cool to learn that the original concept, not the original concept art, one of the more finalized concept arts for the Halo Infinite Harbinger was the compiler was actually a source of inspiration. So it's like not just like a crazy, like, oh my god, Marathon brainworm, it's everywhere. It was like a deliberate intention to kind of evoke the compiler's image in the Harbinger, you know, without infringing on Bungie's copyright. Hey, loved the lossless scaling video. I've recently discovered the app and I've been preaching about it to anyone who will listen. Yeah, I'm glad that you like it. I'm proud of that video, but analytics for that video don't seem to be doing too well. Which I say that like it's this enigma, like why isn't it? No, it makes sense to me. I am proud of the video, and I went into the video with the intention of being kind of like, people like it when I just like talk about things. So I'm going to talk about this thing, but it's me just kind of like saying this is the program, and then the rest of the video is me trying it out on a bunch of different games, rather than something like the Halo 2 Shadow video, where it was very informative, you know? Gave people information they didn't know from like start to finish, as well as it being focused specifically on Halo. Or like TAA, where it's like, what's TAA? What is that? Well, now you know what it is. But lossless scaling, yeah, I could probably like change the title of the video, maybe change the thumbnail, and see if that able to get a few more butts into seats. But that's okay. On to the next video, you know? That's how it is sometimes. Which I'm starting to learn. This is a really old game, but it's still better than your opinions on Halo 2? Halo 2. You know, my opinions on Halo 2 have chilled out a little bit. I think back when the channel, my YouTube channel, was a little bit younger, and I was a little bit younger as a content creator, it was kind of like the contrarian to stand out. But lately I've mellowed out a little bit on Halo 2. Like, Halo 2, it's still not my favorite game in the Bungie trilogy to play. Obviously, the story clears both Halo 1 and 3. Graphically, you know, it is missing an entire layer of visual effects that the art was designed around. But it's like, that's okay. Like, I know why that is. I'm not going to hold it against the game. It wants those shadows, too. Here we go. Oh, it's the compiler. Okay. All right. What do you want? Let's see. Unauthorized access alarm. Fire aspects of the theory are as follows. Each society has some controlling force or forces which decide its direction, but the relationship in society are arbitrary. Humanity can relate to money, machines, neighbors, anything really. Logical reset. Individual character and personality are preserved in stories, movies, ROM personalities, etc. Although individual expression is a universal ability. Individual freedom is constrained by the society. See attached figure. And then some more, you know, computer glitchy stuff. You know, Marathon is very, like, it gives ARG vibes and, like, creepypasta vibes just because of, like, how vague it is. And the fact that the story is only told in those terminals, and the terminals are sometimes very abstract and hint at things that you're not even clear if it's, like, actually part of the universe, you know? And I wonder if were Bungie, like, cooking? You know, were they back in the 90s, were they really, like, positing super deep questions? Or were they just writing a bunch of vague stuff that they thought sounded cool? And because it's so vague, we are interpreting it as something very deep. Either way, it's good stuff. Fun fact, Marathon shares the distinction of being the first game with dual-wielding weapons, along with Rise of the Triad, as both games released on the same day. That's fun. That's a fun bit of trivia. What is not fun is that is not the way to go. Tab. Tab. Come on. I guess that... Do I have to hit enter, maybe? Some of these older games, they, everybody wanted their own distinct control scheme. Interesting. Okay, it won't activate. So I will come back to that, I guess, later. There we go. Okay, that looks like the way out. That looks like the end of a Doom level, so chances are that is the end of this level. Yeah, been about 5 years since I last played this game, so I'm a little bit rusty. But I remember Colony Ship for Sale cheap. That is an experience I will never forget. That was a bad idea for a level. No, it wasn't a bad idea for a level. It was just, like, way too much for the kind of game that Marathon is. All of the information I've gathered so far indicates that the alien invasion of the Marathon has been relatively uncoordinated. I suspect that this is partially due to the Marathon's large size. However disorderly the alien invasion is, their assault of the computer net has been extremely effective. I detect security breaches in almost every computer system aboard the Marathon. I have learned that there is an alien creature that is capable of interfering with our systems. We must kill any of those creatures that you find. It is a priority that we stop them. Even now, they are penetrating my defenses. Teleport now. And then... There we go. John Carpenter calls that the illusion of depth. That is brilliant. And the illusion of depth is something that's very hard to do. Because if you're not, like... It's like, if you're not skilled at it, it's very obvious that you're not as intelligent or deep as you think. Or as you think you are, you know? I am now in contact with a number of colonists planet-side, but their reports of the situation below are conflicting and obviously exaggerated. The primary medium-range radio antenna has been disabled or destroyed, which makes communication difficult. The only thing which seems clear is the spaceport was obliterated by low-yield nuclear weapons minutes after the attack on the Marathon began. This I can verify through my own optical instruments. The invaders seem to be more interested in the Marathon, at least in the short term. The motives behind their unprovoked attack are still, however, unknown. This is the computer terminal you were using now. I can something. Oh, there's a grenade launch. There's a rifle / grenade launcher over there. We'll pick it up. All right, let's go. There is a shield generator for recovering health, but it'll only activate if your health isn't maxed out. Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Hey, Jake the Alright. What a coinky dink. This, right down there, guys, that's the Marathon guy. That's to Marathon what Hidden Xperia is to Halo. So that's cool stuff. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, Marathon... things seem to be moving now with Marathon. I like this little... You can, like, turn on or off the lights and stuff. It's, like, you know, the game... Like, that kind of stuff maybe is not impressive now, but considering that, like, for Mac users, you know, they could only... I assume jealously look out their window like Squidward at Windows users who are playing Doom. Like, that's pretty cool, right? Like, look how far games are coming. You can turn on and off lights. I kind of miss games doing that nowadays, you know? Game worlds are so static now. It's like, does the light do anything? No, not really. But, like, the light switch is there. You should be able to turn it on and off again. I can't help wondering if the firing of Joe Staten and the potential CE remake are related at all. I don't know enough about it to speculate. I'd say, like, maybe a little bit, somewhat. Maybe not specifically that it's a Combat Evolved remake, and that was what was related. But more so, like, the direction that Pierre Heinz was going to take the studio, as well as, like, the Halo franchise. That's what... So it wasn't necessarily just the supposed Combat Evolved remake. It was just, like, the direction that Halo was going to be going in was something Joe Staten was not keen on. Check out the map again. You know, the new Doom game, seeing how big the levels looked in that, I really hope that the new Doom game, because, like, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, they're not, like, classic Doom games. Well, obviously they're not sprite-based, you know? But what I mean by that is that they're not, like, these... I hate the term boomer shooter because it's so, like, kind of, like, dumb and annoying and vague. These I would almost call, like, Labyrinth shooters, where it's kind of like you're running around a maze trying to find keycards to open up the next level. And I would love if the new Doom game is more of, like, a Labyrinth shooter. I'd love for just, like, this type of game to come back. Me and my friends have been trying to make a remake for this game. Trying? Well, how far did you guys get? Because that's pretty cool. You know what I would freaking love? If there's any of you right now watching who are talented forgers, I would love a remake of Marathon in Halo Infinite Forge. with, like, music, atmosphere, and stuff. Try to keep encounters somewhat similar, you know? And make, like, a custom gameplay rule set that kind of evokes, you know, Marathon's gameplay. Labyrinth shooter is a great description. I'm glad that that's stuck. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I think I have to start over. Well, you know what? You know what? Watch this. Watch this. You watching? Because we're going to blow through this level. Jake, since you're in here, do I need to hit any kind of invisible triggers for the levels to conclude? Like, do I have to read the terminals? Or can I kind of, like, beeline for the exit? So that we can just quickly get back to where we were. I think this port, the LF1 port, even supports a controller, which is kind of cool. It's because they are dated. Labyrinth design is artificial difficulty. I guess I disagree with the concept of like locked doors and finding keys as like dated, you know? Or like the concept of a maze is dated. Like, I'm not saying literally have it be like, you know, like this cute little music and like we're fighting sprites and stuff like that. But like kind of like sprawling levels that are very labyrinthine. Lots of backtracking, you know. Having to find the right way forward. Mapping out the station, figuring out what goes where. Is it bad that I'm done trusting 343 Halo Studios? No. I mean, there's a lot of people, you know, that are kind of like in the same boat. You know, and even I'm kind of in the boat of like, I'm rooting for him, but I'll see it, you know, I'll believe it when I see it. Like, I don't want anyone to fail, you know, I want Halo to be doing well. But, like, yeah, you know, I'm rooting for them. Just not gonna be hyped like I used to get. What's that George Bush quote? Fool me once, shame on... What? Wow, man, what is that awesome George Bush quote? Where he's like, I've already been fooled once, so I can't get fooled again. Well, it was something like that. Okay, we saved our game. I just realized I've been saving games I probably don't need to be replaying Marathon. Like, from the beginning, you know? Gotta figure out a way to get up there. This probably doesn't make for the most riveting gameplay, I'd imagine. To be fair, many argue Marathon deserves the title proper since, Rise of the Triads dual pistols are treated as a separate weapon slot versus Marathon, allowing you to fire dual mega class magnums independent of each other. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. That's cool of Marathon that it was able to kind of claim that crown, I guess. And then it even, like, came back for Halo 2. Bungie just couldn't let a good thing die, you know? My recommendation, if you are a huge mega fan of Marathon, and you are watching the stream because you're like, oh my god, LNG is playing Marathon, probably treat this as, like, a podcast. Maybe don't watch the gameplay, because you'll be, like, really upset. You'll be like, it's right there. It's right there, LNG. Do it. Do it. Come on, it's right. You missed it. You missed it. If you sprint and then punch, you build up momentum, and the 4 fighters will turn to goo. Really? Okay. Let's try that. Let's try that next time we see a 4. You know, let's try it. Let's try it without the map. Okay, we need to go that way. And now let me see if I can figure out where. Because I think looking at the map too much is what's screwing me up and making me backtrack and stuff. Though it's not like this is, like, you know, easy to kind of grasp as a 3-dimensional place. Okay, let's go up. Yeah, there we go. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again. Yeah, that's it. Fool me, you can't get fooled again. Yeah, as the famous quote goes. Fool me once. Fool me, you can't get fooled again. Great quote. Great quote. No, I can't drop down there. I'm just like spamming the tab key on random walls. Man, we should get dual stream with Jake, because he knows this game like the back of his hand, probably. So he's the one who can get us places where we need to be, you know, make the gameplay entertaining. And I'll just be like a commoner that is, I'll be like a monkey witnessing, like, the scientific method, you know, where I'm just like, how are you doing this? That's crazy. Yeah, there we go. This is a mess. Now watch me hit this drive, W. Yeah, yeah. I wonder if we can do that. Do you... Okay. There's gotta be some... Because I'm realizing this is not, like, the most compelling... This probably isn't, like, the most fun thing to watch in the world. Me just kind of, like, bumbling around. But I wonder if there is some way that we could set up some kind of dual stream of some kind. That would be immensely entertaining. Hey, late night, will you be streaming Sonic X Shadow Generations? Yes. Yes, I will. I am so excited for that game that I feel like I am going to throw up. I love Shadow so much. I love that era. The stretch from Sonic Adventure to, like, Yeah, Sonic Adventure all the way to Shadow the Hedgehog. Like, that era of Sonic is very near and dear to me, and I'm very happy now that it's kind of being reevaluated as, like, you know, Shadow with a gun on a motorcycle, that is kind of cool. If you're, like, 12. Okay. Let's get more health. The security officer really needed an interact grunt like Doom Guy. Yeah, like the Doom Guy, you know, where you're, like, interacting with stuff just to really sell it home. Yeah, that's the stuff about, like, Doom. It's like, how did they get it so right? Boy, he's gonna slash me up. Yeah, Jake, hit me up, buddy, after the stream, and we'll work on something. Oh my god, okay. I love their little run animation. Like that one, right there. The when the sprite is facing you. I picture, like, the like, you know, when the gang in Scooby-Doo is running, the coconut rattling sounds. Like, that's just what I picture in my head when I see the four running directly at me. There we go. I'm not home right now, though. There is co-op. There's co-op? Co-op? Coop? You're telling me the running game has Coop? Okay, now we're back to where we were, relatively speaking. The video today from earlier today was really awesome, bro. I'm glad you think that. I'm glad you think that. I'm going to have to rename it and possibly get a different title. Because it seems like it's a little bit too niche. But if you haven't seen it, you know, and you're watching the stream and you're like, what are you talking about, LNG? I didn't know you uploaded. Yeah, go check it out. It's pretty good. At least I think. Will do sounds fun. Yeah, that's gonna sound fun. I knew you would be playing this after your conspiracy Harbinger post. Well, you know what's wild about that? I did post that as, like, a conspiracy thing. You know, where it's like, like, could this be related? It's like, no, of course not. Like, of course not. They're different studios, and 343 Industries does not have access to the Marathon IP. But then the guy who did that bit of Harbinger concept art, he actually came out of the woodwork and was like, I was inspired by the compiler when doing the concept art for the Harbinger. So it's like, oh my god, like, it was true. Like, it was true. Like, we're not crazy. I wouldn't necessarily call them Labyrinth shooters. I'd say you're more a fan of open-ended levels versus linear ones, which FPS games have had both. Well, I'm not sure if I would call these open-ended, because they are linear. They're just... It's linear in, like, the same way that, like, Metroid Prime is, you know? Where it's like, yes, technically, like, the levels are kind of, like, open-ended, but they are these, like... the way that you navigate them, like your path to success is a linear, like go here, do this, go here, you know. Pop open our map. Any stinky compilers? Good evening, LNG. What do you know about the connections between Halo and Marathon? Not just in visual design, but in the lore too. Not a lot of genuine connections. Because the truth is, like, there wasn't, like, this, super sprawling, deep, complicated, like, multiverse type thing going on. It was really just, like, cute little Easter eggs. Of, like, hey, we remember our old game? But, it is fun, to, you know, see the Marathon logo show up in Halo and be like, I wonder, are Bungie playing us like damn fiddles? Was it all connected from the start? Oh boy, I just lost a ton of health by doing that. Let's generate some of our health. No, that's the game save station. Guess I'm gonna have to be careful then. And stop accidentally right-clicking. The splat of them, like, just falling apart into a buggy, gooey mess, though. That is good sound design. Like, Marathon, a lot of aspects of it are very unnecessarily clunky, I think, in, like, an attempt by Bungie to kind of make this game different from Doom. But the sound design, it's great. It's so good. The handgun sound, the you know, when you reload it, like, the actual sound assets, I think, are better than Doom. Like, Marathon is a far more satisfying game to, like, listen to. And that's not to poo-poo on Doom, because, you know, like, Doom's got, and the when you kill the zombies. Missed 3 supers. Oh, that's a bad. Can you check my previous message? Oh my gosh. Is it bad that I'm done trusting? Fool me once. Yeah, I said that. Let's see. Imagine art gaming. Is it bad that I'm done trusting? I don't see a previous message. Hey, I have my... Oh, here we go. Hey, I have my finished script. I need to check it in for citations and legitimacies of quote to make sure they are good. Can I send it to your Twitter? Sure. I can't promise that I'll be able to get to it. But you are free. Marathon, I also think, has a more comprehensive and consistent art design. That's definitely true. Like, Doom is, Doom feels very much like, each installment looks completely different from the last installment, because Doom is almost like more of a vibe than it is a consistent look. It's like, demons, Doom guy, hell invasion, go. And then each Doom game is like a different riff on that vibe. That being said, Marathon also, I think, don't worry, I saved. I saved in this level, okay? And I know not to just hit restart. Marathon also, what's kind of interesting about it is it has, like, the best way I can describe this is dual. What is this? Yeah, sure, whatever, PC. Let Marathon do its thing. Like, Bungie made it. It's okay. Marathon has, like, dual art styles, because, like, what you see in game is really not what, like, those crazy, like, paintings. You know, like, the Marathon artwork when you, like, Google Bungie Marathon, you know, like, classic Marathon, and it's, like, this crazy photorealistic, really grimy-looking painting artwork. That stuff doesn't look anything like the stuff in the games, and I think that that's actually, like, core to Marathon, is it's like you've got the game visuals, and then you've got kind of like when you're not playing the game, you've got these insanely gritty, super detailed bits of artwork that almost like they like inject more into the game, if that makes any sense. They're complementary to the game experience. They get your imagination racing, and it makes the world of Marathon feel bigger than it really is. And I hope Bungie does not miss out on that with their Marathon reboot. Because it would be pretty cool for, like, loading screens and stuff to just be this insanely detailed, gritty, hardcore industrial metal aesthetic. Though I also know that the Marathon reboot, it's not really going for that. It's going for that, I forgot the name of the aesthetic. There's a term for the art style that the Marathon reboot is using. It's very much like logos, company logos, line work, lots of limes and neons and stuff like that. The name of that specific aesthetic escapes me at the moment, but it is a cool looking art style. If I recall correctly, Marathon and Pathways into Darkness, Halo, and Destiny are theorized to take place in roughly the same universe, just remade and reshaped after successful big crunches and bangs. Well, what I really like is the implication that a Bungie protagonist and the player are kind of like important to life itself and like the nature of life. So whenever a threat arises, the player of a Bungie game assumes control of the hero of a Bungie game, and the two do their familiar dance and save the universe. And that it's just this thing that has been going on for millennia throughout different worlds, different timelines, just whenever a hero is needed, whether it's a knight or a space marine. The player and the Bungie hero will always be there. It's like, that's fun. That's like, I think it's at the end of Marathon Infinity, when it concludes with like a message where it's like, you are destiny, or something, and it's like, no, it's not, like, you know, like the Wojak, where it's like, oh my god, like the pointing and stuff. Destiny reference? It's like, no, they mean like you. Like this experience, you saving the world, like, you know, picking up the controller or keyboard and mouse and getting to it and stuff. It's like, you are destiny. It's a lot like the Doom guy, actually. Just there's something less gritty about it and more like spiritual and fantastical and kind of meta. Rebecca says, okay, I will art. Cyberpunk? No, it's not cyberpunk, the art style. Yeah, the art style is not called cyberpunk. It's maybe graphic punk? No, I don't think that's what it's called. I don't think that's... Don't quote me on that, okay? Maybe somebody can take that and, like, run with it and see if they can do a bit of digging. But there is, like, an art design title assigned to that specific aesthetic. You know, Bungie didn't just, like, invent it, you know, like, from pure genius. Like, it exists. Artists at Bungie have probably, you know, seen it in classes that they study, you know, like various courses that they've taken, and then they were like, that would be a cool aesthetic to go for with this Marathon reboot. Graphic realism. That's the, yeah, graphic realism. I guess that's a good way to put it. But, I'm thinking of, like, the, specifically, if Jake is still in here. You know, like, his whole channel aesthetic. Like, that kind of stuff. Like, the branding, the logos of the new Marathon game and everything. You know, hopefully we're having fun here. Okay, now play it with lossless scaling. NeoFuturism. Nope. No. No, it's not, like, interpretation. Like, what do you think it's called? Like, it's kind of like how, like, the color blue is called blue. You know, it's not up for debate. It's like, I describe blue as lightish green. It's like, no, it's called blue. And, the aesthetic of, the new Marathon games, various, like, branding aspects, like the lime yellow, the black corporate logos and stuff, the not bold lettering, but the thin lettering and stuff, and the line work, there's a term for it. And it is a cool aesthetic. If anyone wants to go on the aesthetic wiki, you could probably find the name of it. So I've been making a Pinterest board of various Halo games, and kind of because I want to do, like, individual graphic assets for the Evolution series. So it's like, when it's like, this is Master Chief from Halo 1. He looks nice. His gun is nice. It'll, like, pop up with a holographic display of, like, Halo 1 Master Chief, and it'll aesthetically match the game, you know, and I browsed the aesthetic wiki for inspo, and kind of used both the in-game UI as well as marketing material for the games of the time to kind of inform the vibes of each graphic asset that I'm going to go with. Ah! That scared me. Holy crap. Oh my god, we're gonna die again. Okay. Marathon's art realizes slash extrapolates the game's assets, unrestrained by 90s sprites and vector graphics. I call Marathon's aesthetic high-vis jacket. I'm disappointed that they turned it into a hero shooter. Well, it's interesting because it doesn't seem like it's a like, welcome to Concord. Choose the Concord choose the chord you want to play as, you know. This is Bupkis, you know. His whole deal is he has the Marathon rocket launcher. It doesn't seem like they're going that route, thankfully. It seems they're going more along the routes of, like, I can't remember if it was the finals or if it was Apex Legends. Let's see if we can do it again. This level is unnecessarily difficult because I can't remember it very well. I'm very, very sleepy. And also, Marathon is a very intense game if you're not focusing. You seen Transformers 1 yet? Not yet. Not yet, but I intend to watch that movie because I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. Blood needs to lock the frick in. Yeah, I need to lock in and actually like get this hacking level finished, you know? Because you guys are probably tired of the music. I can't hear it because it's muted, but I would assume I'm tired of the music too. That was... I could have killed that guy faster, right? Like, that took a little bit too long. Not my finest shootout. I am not tired of the music. Okay, good. Saying the aesthetic is very interesting, but you're bored. You're not interested in the fact it's a multiplayer game. Yeah, I think Bungie is unfortunately trapped as a multiplayer studio. Oh my god, we're gonna freaking run! Damn it! Okay. Aw, my wife wants to invite me on a date for Transformers on Halloween. I would love to, babe. That sounds like fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay. Do they have a console? Can I activate the marathon guy can't die cheat? Jake's gone, isn't he? He's long gone. I feel like somebody threw me a life preserver when he popped up in the chat because he's the marathon guy. And now that he's not here, it's like, imagine I'm finally swimming back to shore, and then the life preserver just vanishes. Dell Station is near where you picked up the machine gun. You should top up on your health. It is, okay. Let us do actually exactly that. We'll do a quick top up. That's my wife and my favorite term. So you guys get, like, listen. We're all dudes here, right? We all eat cereal. How do I get back? Do you guys eat the cereal, and then when there's like a little bit of milk left, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna top up. And then you pour like just a little bit more cereal into the bowl. And you literally eat the cereal down to the bottom of the bowl. Like no milk, no flakes. That's my wife and I, when we wake up at like 3 a.m. or whatever, and we're just like, secret snack time. And then we get out of bed and we get some cereal, and then it's like, give me a top up. Do a little shake of the bag, you know, the yummy bits of the Frosted Flakes at the bottom. where the flakes have kind of been crushed up a little bit, so they're like very you know, rather than these huge flakes, you've got like lots and lots of little tiny ones that are fun to crunch. If you know, you know. I do not eat cereal with milk. That's fair. What do you eat cereal with? Juice? Water? What's your preferred liquid of choice for cereal eating? Oh my god, I forgot that they were going to come from behind. Okay, I am... Oh, Marathon, you gotta get... Oh, I can't get to your level, Marathon. Unfortunately, you're going to have to come down to my level. Marathon, it is... I am in a state of mind where I am making very, very easily avoidable mistakes. I don't even know how to get out of here. I don't know how to top up on my health because I got distracted by cereal talk. Thankfully, though, we've backed up a little bit. Let's find where that health station is. There we go. Okay, time to top up. I accidentally right-clicked and killed myself with a rocket. I can't afford milk. I use water. Wait, so you can afford cereal, though? I just drink the milk? Wait, so, hey, what do you mean by that? Do you, like, pour the cereal into a bowl and then leave it there and just drink milk and that's your breakfast? Or do you eat the cereal dry with a glass of milk on the side? Look at this health. Look how much health we're getting. Oh my god, look at that top up. You gonna check out 6 Days in Fallujah? I'll be honest. The game doesn't look that interesting. It kind of looks like just another one of those, like, unfinished early access games. Like, I know it's supposedly going to be coming out of early access soon, but it's just been in early access for so long, and a lot of the momentum and energy has kind of been seeped out, and I don't know, it's like the hyper-realistic milsim type stuff. I don't know, like, I'll definitely check it out, but it just seems, like, astonishingly uncreative from ex-Halo developers. That's the best way that I can put it. No, I drink the milk that's left in the bowl after finishing the cereal. Okay, got it. Sony doesn't own Marathon. Yeah, they don't own Marathon yet. That's still owned by Bungie, I believe. Because Bungie isn't like a subsidiary of Sony. It's I think Sony is just a parent company of Bungie, but if you know, things don't change, then Sony might change Bungie, is what seems to be the kind of threat Bungie's working under. Infinity's story has the security officer Mjolnir 54 embody the narrative concept of the protagonist. He is Doomguy, Master Chief, Samus, Shepard, Ripley, Holmes, Perseus, all of them. He is you. Yeah. It's a cool concept. I like it. What if Sony sued Microsoft because of the Spanker design? I don't think that there would be grounds for a lawsuit, because I think that the Halo rocket launcher is distinct enough. Like, there are enough creative differences. I mean, maybe the name Spanker, you know, you could do something with that, but also, like, I don't think Sony has, like, any reason to be, like, hostile, you know? In that regard, like, in this world where Sony owns the Marathon IP. Xbox, during the Reach days, was also quite good at getting Bungie to cut it out with the Marathon references. But, you know, Bungie was able to sneak quite a few in. And there's still Marathon references, a lot of them in Halo 4, that are just kind of like accidental holdovers because they're reusing Reach assets, and those Reach assets just blatantly have the Marathon logo on them. And even Halo Infinite has a couple holdovers. There we go. All right, new level. We did it, guys. The Marathon's automatic manufacturing systems have finished making replacement circuits. With luck, the alien viruses have not infiltrated the manufacturing systems. It is absolutely imperative that a counterattack begin as soon as possible. The Marathon is not defenseless, and we can't let it be taken without a fight. This is where the circuits should be. We'll figure it out. We're just having fun talking, you know? Can you beatbox? No. No, 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 no. I can sound like every guy who says that they can beatbox and can't. That was a great way to start the level. How did you get to play this? Sorry, just joined if you've answered it already. It's free on Steam. Just to be clear, Bungie open sourced the older games, so Sony doesn't control them. But Sony owns Bungie and the Marathon IP itself. I don't think Sony owns Bungie. I think Sony operates as a parent company for Bungie. Which, weirdly enough, there is a distinction. And Bungie owns all of their IP. But if there were to be kind of like a takeover by Sony, you know, in the event that like Bungie doesn't fulfill the contracts that they have, and then like Sony is able to kind of like take over Bungie as a company, then they would own Marathon. Which probably, though, I can't imagine Marathon is going to be on the Xbox, is it? This is a bad way to start the level. Because we're just like out of ammo, cornered. Really wished Marathon got rebooted like Doom instead of getting turned into an extraction shooter. Yeah, me too. I don't know if you could do... If I trust Bungie, at least, modern day Bungie, or really like any AAA development studio to do Marathon justice, just because like Marathon is a very Marathon's a very unique vibe. And I feel like modern Bungie has kind of lost some of that vibe. And other modern, like I think of the way a lot of modern games are written and stuff, and I don't think you could capture the kind of like isolation, feeling like the quiet of Marathon. I just think of like Kratos and like his little kid, where you just like enter a room and they're like, wow, we're in a room now. And you walk 5 steps and it's like, this room sure has a lot of places to walk. We should figure out how to open the door. What do you think that is? Is it a button? You should press it. Well, that button opens the door. And it's just like, okay, okay. I downloaded Horizon Zero Dawn for approximately 30 minutes on my Steam Deck. And I got... By the time I was done playing, I had enough of voice protagonists. Just narrating everything that they're doing or everything that they see, as if I'm not also playing and seeing it for myself. Find it funny how starkly the weapon designs change between Marathon, and the Spanker goes from a 2-headed metal shark to a double-barreled law. There we go. There we go, we're out. But we are just barely scraping by, health-wise. Come on, give me health. They're coming. They're coming. I can hear. Well, I mean, not here. I can see it on my motion tracker. Okay, let's go beat them up. Come here. Jake was right. If you, like, run at them and punch, they just explode. Oh, man, he's blocking. You see him? There we go. You ready? You ready for this? Boom! You ready? Boom! Yeah, how do you like that? Yeah, so anybody watching right now who's very good at forging, you know, if you're good at forging, I'm talking about you. I would love for somebody to recreate Marathon 1 in Halo Infinite. That would just be so cool. You know, sound effects, music, triggers. Like, obviously we can't get the 4 in there, but, like, elites. You know, brutes with gravity hammers. Those things kind of look like the skimmers, the bug things. I'd freaking love for somebody to do that, you know, and then mess around with the custom games options to see if you can get, like, player handling and controls to feel similar to Marathon. You do that, and I'll make a video on it. And maybe we can get IGN to write an article about it. And you keep me updated on it. And I will play test it. Take the elevator here to access the main processor panel. Gotcha. Okay. Just added them all to the library, thanks. Yeah, it's cool that this just dropped out of nowhere. It's also, like, doubly cool that it's free. No. Okay, I was just checking to see if there's anything interesting up there. Let's take this elevator up. Oh boy. no. I really wish there was more positivity in the Halo fandom, at least online. Not everyone, but a lot of people seem to want Halo to fail, which makes me quite sad. Though 343 isn't blameless at all. What I would say... oh, Ninja Kobe, I see an interesting question you had. What I will say is maybe step away from certain parts of the Halo community. Like, for your own sanity, basically. So, like, if you find that, like, Reddit is kind of like a toxic cesspool, maybe don't interact with the Halo subreddit a lot, you know? If you see hate bait posts, like, you know, why, I wish 343 would stop dropping plot lines, like the 400th post about that. Scroll until you see one that's a little bit more positive, and then maybe interact with that one. Because I do get you. Sometimes it's like, can we talk about Halo without it devolving into a, they should have done this. It's bad because of this. And also stay away from the posts that are like, controversial opinion, but I really like this thing. Like, stay away from that, okay? Because you know what's going to happen. You scroll down, and you're going to see someone saying, no, that thing was awful. That's why nobody likes it. And then, like, arguments are going to start, you know? Let me see quickly what that... you mentioned you thought the next Halo would be different from what players expect. After the Halo Studios Vidoc, do you still have the same belief? I do. I do. Because allegedly we're getting a Combat Evolved remake in the Unreal Engine. And then they mentioned a couple of projects, and what I am anticipating... Okay, this is my prediction. My predictions are usually wrong, so if they are wrong, you know, then good. But if not, if I've become wiser as I've gotten older, and I am right, this is what my prediction is. I think that Combat Evolved, the remake, is going to be single player. I'm not going to bet on co-op for it. It's going to be made mostly for new audiences, because it's going to be the first Halo game on PlayStation consoles, as well as an effort to kind of like revitalize the Halo brand, rather than just, you know, giving PlayStation players like, hey, here's Halo 1 from 25 years ago. It's a retelling of Halo 1 in a shiny new engine with crazy photorealistic visuals and all that stuff. You basically kind of like, it's like a jump start to the Halo IP. Like, new fans are brought in, new people who are invested now in the story because of the modern retelling of Halo 1 with the modern visual effects and everything. As for multiplayer, they will probably do a standalone multiplayer project of some kind. You know, if you want your story stuff, you go to the Combat Evolved remake. If you want your multiplayer stuff, you go to the standalone multiplayer game. Whether it's going to be free-to-play or not is hard to say. Because I feel almost like free-to-play stuff, there's a lot of risk with that. They might still do it, you know, because here's the problem with modern video... Okay, the problem with modern gaming... What I mean is... The issue that Halo has right now is that a majority of gamers are playing games that are about 5 to 10 years old right now that got popular. And now they're just forever games that are never going away. They're not dying, and people keep playing them. Like, if you look at the top of the Xbox charts, it is Fortnite, Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto Online, Warzone. Like, these aren't new games. And in the case of Grand Theft Auto, like, that game is so old. And it's like, those are what gamers are still playing. And that's what any game releasing nowadays, what they're up against. You know, before it was kind of like, games would constantly be coming out, gamers would play the games, and then a new game would come out and everyone would get excited. Well, now it's like the industry has almost kind of like, the market has like matured and sort of solidified into this shape where the new generation, they're not as interested in like crazy graphics, super crazy innovation, you know, new releases and stuff. They just want to play Roblox till the end of time on their phones and on their iPads and stuff. And that's like, that's not, you know, wrong, okay? Like, if they're enjoying that, they're enjoying that. But that's what the market is right now. And that's what Halo has to go up against now. It's, you are dragging, you're going to have to figure out how to drag kids away. And a Combat Evolved remake is probably actually very smart, like a single-player focused one, because it's not going to be a forever game, you know, like Halo Infinite tried to be. It's not going to be like, hey guys, we're also Fortnite and Roblox. You're going to be playing us for the next 10 years. It's just a very modest, humble promise of like, we promise you can go back to your Fortnite. We'll give you back your iPad, okay? Just give us 40 hours of your time to check out this Halo single-player thing. And then you can go back to Fortnite. It's the multiplayer Halo project that I speculate that they're making, where I'm like, what are they going to do? Because Halo Infinite, it didn't, like, fail, you know, because, like, no content, or it was buggy. I mean, those are reasons. But it was also because, like, of course the kids weren't going to, like, you know, of course the kids weren't going to stop playing Minecraft and Roblox and Fortnite and stuff. Like, they've been playing those games for years. And that's the tough nut to crack. Are you going to go free to play? Well, then there literally is no incentive for them to stick around, you know? They spent nothing. They downloaded the game. That's cool for like a couple of hours, but then they hop on Roblox. Are you going to do a Black Ops 6 stream when it comes out? I would love to. I messaged Hidden Xperia asking if he wanted to do zombies. He has not gotten back to me. So if he does not get back to me, then I will probably stream it myself. Fine, I'll do it myself. You know? That's a good point. PlayStation users won't be caught dead playing a game with any less detailed graphics than individually rendered skin pores. Yeah, it's just like, you know, it's like those stupid weirdos that like compare the amount of facial, like, you know, the quality of the fuzz on Aloy's cheeks versus the fuzz on like Captain Price's cheeks, you know? Like those like the Twitter pixel counters where they're just like, look how bad the bananas look in Halo Infinite on this multiplayer map. Halo sucks. Clearly, Horizon Forbidden West has superior banana rendering capabilities. But the bigger point that I was getting at was that graphics are not going to be everything. Like, graphics will be something that'll win, like, the internet discourse on Twitter wars, you know, of, like, people arguing about, like, how high the fidelity of, like, the bananas in a market are. But the real war is getting, like, you know, the younger generation to care. Because the only people who care about Halo are older generations. Because it's like, how couldn't you care about Halo? It's Halo. And they're like, we don't know what you're talking about, Grandpa. Steve? Minecraft Steve? Is that Halo? Per the Insomniac leaks, top played games on PlayStation are different from Xbox. Yeah, it's the same old games, you know? Rainbow Six, Fortnite, Warzone, Roblox, Minecraft. Probably missing one, but it's like there's less share now to go around. Okay, we gotta ride the thing now. That's right. We gotta ride the elevator. There's less time for gamers to share and spend on different games because they've been locked in. You know, they got their forever games. The children do always yearn for the mines. Those children, they really love their mines. Minecraft, how is Minecraft? I really like that console version that initially shipped. You know, on the Xbox 360 and then the Xbox One and stuff like the, you know, Switch edition, Xbox One edition. But then when they switched over to this, like, unified, like, a Minecraft with, like, you have to sign into a Microsoft account and the UI is so goddamn laggy. And it just, like, the performance isn't that great. Man, like, that's kind of where I fell off with Minecraft. I hate this, like, universal Minecraft app that Microsoft created. Like, it's so much worse than those old, like, specifically tailored console versions. The non-Bedrock versions. Yeah, the non-Bedrock versions. I love Marathon. I make art of it very frequently. That is, what kind of art? Do you do, like, the in-game art? Like, try to adapt to the sprites? Or do you go for more of, like, the like, you know, the loading screen stuff? That is very cool, though. You should share some of your artwork. It's crazy how the whole world switch from Halo Infinite looks so ass-bro to graphics aren't the problem, 343 is missing the point. Though I absolutely agree that graphics don't really matter. No, graphics do matter, but graphics are just one fight. That's the, like, internet discussion fight, you know? Like, in order for your game, I'm not even going to say for your game to be successful, because even that's one of the major aspects of making sure that your game is successful is that it has to win many fights. It has to win the internet discussion fight, you know, on Twitter, like, you don't want to become a meme, and it also has to, like, win the big battle. You know, you win that internet discussion fight early on, but that was just one little skirmish, one little fight, you know? The big battle is trying to get the Zoomers, or Gen Alpha, I guess, away from Minecraft and Roblox and stuff and Fortnite. It is a multi-stage conflict. Scariest Marathon enemy, Hulk or Juggernaut? Compiler? Like, for me? But, if it had to be between the two, I think the Juggernaut? Run this way. I want to know how they'll approach game balance. A CER-esque retune, an SPV3 top-down rebuild, or pistols one-shotting hunters. I don't think we'll see pistols one-shotting hunters. But something that is kind of interesting is in that... now, listen, like, none of what we saw in that Unreal Engine demonstration, I don't think any of that is representative of what the actual remake will look like. Because it's just like a hodgepodge of Halo Infinite assets dumped into the Unreal Engine to familiarize themselves with the tools. But I did notice the prominent, constant use of the Magnum. So I do wonder, like, that would be wild if they did the Combat Evolved remake, but they stuck with the pistol being like the gun of the game, you know, like your primary weapon is this crazy giant ass hand cannon. Because the obvious thing, if you were to ask anybody how they would remake Combat Evolved, first thing they would probably say is that the assault rifle has to be the primary weapon. And that it was wrong if Halo wanted to make the pistol the primary weapon. But it will be very interesting if, like, that, you know, seeing Chief with that pistol and stuff, if that is emblematic of the fact that they are, in fact, going to also make sure that that pistol stays as your primary gun. What do you think Nintendo's Mysterious Playtest will be? Mysterious Playtest. It's a shame you don't have the music on. Is the music off? If the music is off, that is completely unintentional. And I will rectify that mistake. Let's find a quick save station then. Because you have to back out of the level. There you go, game saved. Preferences. Sound. Music volume. Okay, guys, tell me if you can hear music, okay? Here, let me scroll down now. Have you seen the Pokemon leaks? Oh my god. Okay, so my wife is currently in... My wife is currently... Sorry, I just... It was like instinct. My wife is in New York right now, and usually when she's in, you know, home, like, we will go crazy about this kind of stuff. But baby, have you seen the crazy Pokemon leaks? Like, they're doing really cool stuff with Pokemon behind the scenes. So they're working on the next. So Game Freak had a Spider-Man developers type of hack where a lot of data was stolen from the company. And it seems like they are working on multiple different projects, and they're aimed at different age groups. Like, they're gonna have a Pokemon series aimed at adults, and not like, you know, that doesn't mean that, like, Pikachu's gonna do drugs, like, not that kind of aim at adults. More like it's gonna deal with more adult problems, like depression and stuff like that. Like, stuff, you know, that's like a little bit heavy for a kid's show. And it's aimed at older Pokemon fans who, like, grew up with the property, as well as they're gonna work on stuff that's aimed at, you know, like, getting new fans on board and younger kids. And they're already working on the next Pokemon game, the next Pokemon generation, but they're also, like, there's gonna be, like, some kind of crazy multiplayer focused Pokemon game. Now I'm stressed. Do you think that Combat Evolved is timeless? Yeah, I think it is. Like, I think it came out at, like, this golden twilight period. It's, like, a lot like Majora's Mask and, like, Ocarina of Time, where it's the graphical technology and animation quality and music technology. Like, everything was just advanced enough that it wasn't like Marathon, where they quite literally could not have voice acting due to technical limitations. You know, like, Halo had just enough technology to be able to tell a semi-modern game type of story. You know, where it's like there's cutscenes, there's directing, there are different camera angles, there's timing. It's not just like characters kind of like standing around. And you know, the levels are also great, the music's great, sound effects are pretty good, you know, for the time. But yeah, I would say Halo 1 is like timeless. I can still replay Halo 1 and think it's a lot of fun. But, you know, it all depends on what you think is timeless. Like, there was somebody earlier in the chat that said Labyrinth type of shooters where you have to find key cards are outdated. And it's like, okay, for that guy, you know. For that guy, maybe not, because it's all, you know, like, what our preferences are. This is where the circuits should be. See, I'm starting to get lost now. The levels are becoming a little bit too abstract now, so I can't chat and play, because I don't know these levels like the back of my hand. Unfortunately. Oops. Only Philistines think the AR isn't the main gun. That baby wrecks house. Magnum only trumps by virtue of being the only non-power weapon that headshots. Yeah. Yeah, the assault rifle is, people who say Halo 1 is a one-gun game are people that play Halo 1 badly and are not very good at Halo 1. Yeah, I'm totally lost now, so for all of your sakes, why don't we try out Marathon Infinity? That could be fun, right? All right, we're going to bump up Marathon Infinity. Why did you go by Taras? Is it why did you go by Taras? Is it kind of like Haruspis, where you adopted a title from the lore? I go by Taras because that's what my mommy named me. Taras is a real Ukrainian name that people in the real world have. It is an odd sounding name, though. Like, really, really odd sounding name. And I don't blame you for assuming it was, like, some kind of, like, fantasy name from, like, lore. All right, there we go. Boss, since you're a huge Sonic fan, is Sonic Forces a good game? I got some money and might get a Sonic game. Sonic Forces. It is not a game that is like, okay, like if I wanted to play like a boost Sonic game, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Generations, you know, all of that stuff, great games. Sonic Forces, unfortunately, I don't think is very good. Like, it's what I would say, Isaiah, is if you like Sonic and you want, and you're like a big fan of Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Generations and stuff, and that was the one boost game that you haven't played, then like, yeah, go ahead. You know, like, round out your opinions, like, own them all. And there's probably even stuff you're gonna like in there. But I don't think it's great as a boost Sonic game. I don't even think it's that good as a Sonic game. Does your Kirby-loving wife make fun of you for being a Sonic fan, like my Kirby-loving wife? She does not make fun of me. We do not make fun of each other. Look how ominous that is. Look at that image. Like, Marathon was creepy, man. I've heard a lot of love from that Sonic game where modern and classic Sonic met. That's a great game. That's Sonic Generations. And it's what's crazy is, like, the story is the worst part of that Sonic game. The story almost doesn't exist because of how shallow and pointless it is. What's great about it, though, is it's just like classic Halo level, or Halo. I jumped ahead. Well, I was about to say, it is classic Sonic levels, some of the most iconic Sonic levels of all time, remade with modern technology. Well, at the time, modern technology. And the best way that I can describe it would be like if there was kind of like a Halo Generations that came out, and it was just 9 of the most iconic Halo levels of all time remade in like a single engine and expanded. They weren't just like one-to-one ports. They were expanded upon. But, you know, there's a healthy helping of nostalgia. So, like, those Sonic levels, they have plenty of, like, original points to kind of, like, drag them out. But then it'll be like you turn a corner and boom, it's a one-to-one recreation of a part of a level from the past. And it's just like, you know, chills. Yeah, but so this is the story of Marathon Infinity, and it's pretty scary. A sun is blown up by, I forgot who. I think it's the Four. They blow up the sun, and what is revealed is within the sun was an elder being, like a cosmic god, that dreams, and its dreams become waves that affect the universe around it. And the sun was basically trapping it there. And then when they blew up the sun, now this ancient god, this slumbering being, has woken up, and the universe is like collapsing. And it's destroying everything. Let's see. Things have gone terribly awry. Until now I thought myself immortal, but now I know that is not true. There are things that cannot destroy me with ease. I have slaughtered the Four naval garrison in the western arm of their Battle Group 7, but in their final gasp, they used a weapon that I thought they had retired. Now I fear what that weapon has unleashed will destroy us. I once boasted to be able to count the atoms in a cloud, to understand them all, predict them, and so did I predict you, but this new chaos is entirely terrible, mindless, obeying rules that I don't comprehend, and it is hungry. It's too bad. Perhaps if I could have delayed the four from using their weapon, I could have sent you to explore the ruins of Loan. Perhaps what you found would give us the answers we need desperately. How to stop this chaos, the purpose of the station you're on, something, something, something. Yeah, so Lovecraftian Elder God has been released, and it's the end of days now. So pretty high stakes. I might wait to get Sonic X Shadow. Yeah, Sonic X Shadow Generations, that's the one that I am very excited about. Really hope that that one's good. But then it's like, you know, like these crazy high stakes. It's the end of days and stuff, and then you pop open a gameplay, and this is it. This is the gameplay. We're just kind of like shuffling down corridors. Gotta say, it's good looking. Super! Oh, let me go back up and see. Pistol's great at mopping fodder troops and hunters, but gets hard countered by shields and needs a secondary support. The real OP weapon is the shotgun. Even the shotgun, I think, has like a couple problems, at least on Legendary. I rarely use it on Legendary, actually. But yeah, I totally agree. Like, people who think that it's like Halo 1 is a one-gun game, just use the pistol for everything. It's like, you're somebody who doesn't play on Legendary, and if you did, you would get your ass handed to you because you don't understand Halo 1. I think a lot of the Halo 1 is a one-gun game. Like, oh my god, all you use is the pistol in that game. I want more variety. It comes from kind of like the way that like a lot of modern shooters are, where it's like you've got like a bunch of different guns, but they're all designed so that you can pick which one is your favorite and stick with that one. And if you want to, you can switch to another gun, and it kind of plays the same. Like, you know, in Call of Duty, SMGs, shotguns, LMGs, there's not a lot of difference between those rifle groups outside of range and like how fast you move when you're holding them. So with Halo, it's kind of like, I think a lot of folks go into that with like, but I want to use the assault rifle in this wide open field. Like, I want to. You know, I like the assault rifle. I want to run around with it. And it's like, it's not the kind of game Halo is. Halo's not quite like Doom, you know, where you have to be constantly cycling through different weapons. But it's in the similar family to that, where it's like, guns you don't use because of preference. You use them because of utility, like what they're good at. And in the case of Halo, if you think of like Doom, you think of the shotgun is kind of like almost your primary weapon, the pump shotgun. It's the one you're probably going to be using the most. Speaking of like, I'm speaking primarily about Doom and Doom Eternal. For Halo, it's going to be, in Halo 1, it's going to be the pistol. In Halo 2, it's going to be the battle rifle. And then in Halo 3, it's going to be either the carbine or the battle rifle. And then it's like your secondary slot. You reserve that for more, for like constantly picking up new weapons, making sure your back pocket always has something new and unique that you can pull out when the situation calls for it. What is this? Oh, this is like the, Demo. It's a demo. I'm watching the game, like, look, the game's, like, doing, like, a little movie. Isn't that cool? You, Judy, like the video yet? Said Brent. I like that. Obviously, you met guys, but I just like, yo, Judy, you like that video yet? I've been replaying through CE again and found another one of those missing details on anniversary graphics, but I have been using more weapons than the normal noob combo I do. The noob combo is like, it's fun because the noob combo is just one of many weapon combinations that can get you through a Halo campaign. Something that is actually like so good. It's a strategy I only just learned this year. Was a thing. The plasma pistol, if you got a nasty trigger finger, the plasma pistol can carry you through legendary. So you could theoretically not use the Magnum and keep the plasma pistol as like your new go-to primary weapon to get you through a lot of the gunfights, and then keep, reserve your secondary slot for something that kills a bit faster, like a rocket launcher if you can find one, or a sniper for long range kills. I wish I used the Needler more in CE. Feels like it's crap. Also remember that, like, for some guns, it's also like, okay, the Needler as an example. My neighbor, I used to babysit his kid, and for her, she was terrible at, like what? She's like a 5-year-old, She picks up a controller and she just, like, walks around staring at the floor and she doesn't know what's going on. But she wanted to play Halo. The Needler was the perfect gun for her, because she didn't have to aim. She just kind of pointed vaguely in the direction of an enemy, and the Needler did the job for her. And it moved so slow that it was easy for her to, like, see what was going on, So, Halo was the game with the pink gun. And it's like, that's kind of what the Needler was, The Needler is also really good against the Flood. Not the combat forms and stuff, but it's really, really good against the little floodlings. Because the needle sticks into them, and when the needles will pop after a couple of seconds of being in an enemy, and that pop counts as an explosion, so it sets off a chain reaction, and you can actually take out quite a lot of floodlings by just pew, 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 getting a couple needles into strategic points in a crowd of them. People say Shadow's too physically powerful to use guns. So is the Doomslayer, but nobody complains when he shreds demons with a break-action shotgun. It's just fun when Shadow uses guns, man. Like, Shadow's a cool-looking character. He's like a little vampire hedgehog with fangs. And it's like, yeah, he looks cool. I like the Chili 75. BR75. Yeah, Rebecca and I, we like the battle rifle quite a bit. That's a great story. Yeah, so think about some of the sandbox in that regard. There aren't a lot of, like, nowadays the Needler has taken on kind of like a different role, because, like, gamers are just getting, like, better and better at playing games earlier and earlier. But things like the Needler, it's like that thing you don't even, like, have to really do a lot of work. Like, in Halo 1, it can, so think of, like, 2 betrayals. You clear out the control room, door opens, there's elites and jackals and grunts on the way far side of that Forerunner hallway. if you started shooting in their direction, like your crosshair isn't even red yet, you're on one end of that massive hallway, the needles will actually travel the entire length of the hallway and home in on one of the Covenant. You know, and it's like, what if you're like crawling around on like one HP, you know? And it's like, if your shields pop, you're pretty much doomed. Like, you could do that with the Needler. You could sit at the way end of the level and just fire a storm into the air and let them track all the way across the level over to where the Covenant are hanging out. And just find a little elite to take down for you. Bruh, Shadow is that one quiet / emo kid in school. Definitely Shadow from the Shadow the Hedgehog game. Though that characterization for him is so weird. It's annoying. So I was telling my wife I was being like annoying. No, not annoying. She doesn't think I'm annoying. I was being a Sonic fan, and something that I dislike about modern interpretations of Shadow. So for the past decades, Sega had kind of locked in the idea creatively that Shadow has to be a rival to Sonic. And most depictions of him were written with him being like antagonistic and like grumpy. Like they really played into the Shadow's edgy, Shadow's grumpy, Shadow's mean, he doesn't have friends. And that just became like Shadow. Like he was just like a mean guy, always looking to start fights with Sonic. Which wasn't really how he was written when he first showed up in the Sonic games. But then, recently, it seems like Ian Flynn, the new writer, has been able to make some headway with Sega, getting them to ease up a little bit. Because when Shadow was like a villain in Sonic Adventure 2, it was because of a misunderstanding. And when the misunderstanding was cleared up, Shadow sacrificed himself to save the planet Earth and all its people. So, what's a little bit frustrating, and I don't think it's Ian Flynn, I think it's, like, working with what Sega wants. So, Shadow in the new, in the, what do they call it? Like the Dark Beginnings or whatever? Like that anime thing that they did? He's like, with Maria Robotnik, which Shadow was created on a space station to basically cure, he was supposed to cure, this girl who had like an illness. And for some reason, like making Shadow the Hedgehog was the key to that. And Shadow was raised with this girl, and Shadow was just kind of like a nice little guy. Like, he was curious about Earth. He'd always look out the window, and he'd be like, do you think we can go down there someday when you're better? I want to see all the beautiful people. He had heard all the stories, and she, being like a little girl, had filled his head with, like, this little girl version of what the human race is like. It's like, the people down there, they just want to be happy. Like, you were brought into this world, Shadow, so that you could give everyone a chance to pursue their dreams. And then the girl tragically died when the government shut down the program because they were like, you're making a what? You're making a what up there? A hedgehog with superpowers? No, shut it down. And then they shot the little girl. And then Shadow's memories got like all screwed up by the scientist who made him. Because the scientist was like, I hate the human race. They killed this little girl. Like, this is terrible. And so he screwed with Shadow's memories so that the little girl is like, Shadow, I want you to kill them all. Kill all of them. They're awful people. And that's why Shadow is evil in Sonic Adventure 2, because his brain, his memories were screwed with. And when he got his true memories, he was like, I promised to save them, not to kill them all. Even though she died, like, her promise was to live for the human race to protect them. And so Shadow sacrificed himself to save the planet Earth. And that's beautiful and wonderful. And then Sega wanted him to be grumpy, because everyone thought he was like an edgy guy with a gun. And it's like, no, Shadow's a little bit more nuanced than that. Like, he has trouble expressing himself, but, like, he has a good heart. He wants to protect people. So for about a decade, Sonic writers were stuck with this mandate that Shadow has to be a grumpy, edgy antagonist, a rival for Sonic. And recently, the current writer for Sonic, Ian Flynn, he's been able to make headway with Sega, and it seems like he had a compromise with Sonic X Shadow Generations. He was able to get Sega to be like, can we, like, not have Shadow be, like, just nasty? Like, can he, you know, have a little bit of a heart? Like, because of this, like, the little girl, you know? And it seems like the compromise they met is that Shadow is angry and sad that he can't... So, Shadow's still angry and nasty and mean, but it's because he can't cure the girl. And that's the compromise Ian Flynn was able to get for Sonic X Shadow Generations. And it's like, okay, it's a little bit better, but it's still not like who Shadow was. You know, Shadow didn't... He was obviously frustrated, but he wasn't, like, punching the ground. He was like, I was supposed to be the secret to curing you! You know, like, Shadow started brooding after she died. He didn't start brooding while she was still alive, you know? Wow, I did not know that Sonic was that dark. Yeah, Sonic's pretty freaking dark. It can be weirdly dark. Sonic Adventure 2 ends with the scientist. So the space station, the game ends, you know, the game that introduced Shadow, ends with a big confrontation on the space station. And Shadow and Sonic have, like, a big race. Somebody wins the race or something. Like, not like a, we're gonna race, but, like, they have, like, a battle, you know? And then the space station starts, like, moving on its own. And it's going to collide with the Earth. And then a very haunting video plays of that scientist in a chair with his hands behind his back and, like, flashlights waving around on him. And he's in a prison cell. And he's saying his last words. And his last words are basically like, this is my final gift to all of you who took that beautiful girl from me. Like, revenge. Like, you're all gonna die. My space station is gonna destroy the planet. And then they're like, are those your final words? And he's like, yes. And then they're like, okay, ready, aim. And then the video cuts off. It's like, oh my god. That guy's dead. He was executed. Those were his final words. Like that, and that's like in a Sonic game. That's like the final villain of Sonic Adventure 2 has been dead for like 50 years because the government executed him for his involvement in this, like, secret project to make a crazy hedgehog with powers. Like, it's just like, what the hell? I could listen to LNG talk for hours. How much time you guys got? There's 81 of you watching right now. You want to hear some more Sonic stuff? Yeah, so that's why Shadow is so brooding and edgy. It's because he was born into this world he was created to cure this little girl who had to live on a space station because of her debilitating illness. And then the little girl was killed by government soldiers. And then Shadow was locked away in a thing. And then his memories were fucked with by this scientist who created him. You know, so it's like Shadow... After he got his real memories back, like, Shadow was angry, yes, about what happened. But he remembered his promise. And you know that bad Sonic game? Like, the bad one. You know, Sonic 06, the one where Sonic kisses a human. That game is kind of interesting because the Sonic plot is very bad, okay? Like I said, Sonic falls in love with a human and kisses her. Very bad, okay? The Shadow story is good. It's actually good. which is crazy because it's in this game that's infamously bad. And, you know, the bad stuff does overshadow the good for good reason. You know, Sonic kisses a woman, like a human woman. But in that game, this is Shadow years later. He is working with humans to kind of like keep Dr. Eggman from doing like ridiculous stuff. And like, you know, Dr. Eggman's doing something fucking weird, like with a weird scepter. He releases like a god of pain, you know, like typical stuff. But the evil god of the week is like trying to tempt Shadow. He's like, do you want to see what's going to happen in your future? Because this god can do that. It can like look into the future. And it's like, this is you, Shadow. And like Shadow is like being tortured and like imprisoned. And he's like, this is where you're going. They're not going to trust you. And when something goes wrong, they're all going to blame you. The humans you vowed to protect. And Shadow says something along the lines of like, I don't care if the human race becomes my enemy because I'm going to protect them all the same. And it's like, damn, man. That's how good of a guy Shadow is. That he's like, if they want to make me their enemy, then so be it, but I will still protect them. And then, yeah, so, you know, when people are like, Shadow's like the edgy edgelord, right? It's like, no, not really. He's more like dark and troubled. I wouldn't say he's edgy, he's troubled. Oh, and we're saying, what is Marathon about? Oh, God. Marathon is a game where you are following an AI's, like, descent into kind of, like, insanity and then going so crazy that it reaches, like, a stage of enlightenment. And then it becomes so intelligent that it begins like orchestrating a war between this alien species and the human race, and like jumping around time and kind of like screwing around with stuff. And then in the third Marathon game, a Lovecraftian elder being is released from a sun, and so you have to jump between different timelines to fix everything. Shadow is more or less Christopher Nolan's Batman. There's a lot of similarities there, yes. In fact, I'd say Shadow is probably a little bit more noble than Christopher Nolan's Batman. Hey, Miss Super, gotcha. Let me go back up and take a look-see. Sega mandating that Shadow only ever views Team Dark as allies of convenience is a big stupid. They're a found family, and you can't change that for me. Yeah, exactly. Rebecca's making silly Marathon jokes. It's about the race, but sure, crazy AI. Marathon's the game about running. In Paper Mario The 1,000-Year Door, you can find nooses in the middle of Rogueport out in the open. Is that true? Here, I'm looking it up right now, okay, on my phone. I've got my phone right here. I'm letting the Marathon, like, videos play, because we're having a lot of fun. Like, this pre-recorded video for the main menu, this is way better than any gameplay I could do. So hopefully you're enjoying the crazy Marathon action, but I'm going to look up Paper Mario Noose. Oh my God. You're right. That's like an old-timey cowboy like hanging execution podium. Wow, so they do public hangings. That's crazy. Jesus. Yeah, like some of these games, like aimed at kids, they have specifically ones done by Japanese developers. There's a lot of stuff that gets through to the American releases that is pretty surprising. Yeah, Gallows. Crazy search history. Yeah, Paper Mario Noose. LNG, have you played Star Wars Dark Forces with Kyle Katarn? I've got it on my Steam wish list. If it's on sale, I hope I can pick it up. Yeah, but Dark Forces looks really cool. So, Marathon Story is just Halo 5, but better? Yes. Yes. Well, it's not Halo 5 story, you know, because, like, literally the only thing they share in common is AI takes over. But it's the same premise, but with more interesting themes, I guess, to discuss. You know, like Halo 5 obviously has the production value because it's a modern release versus Marathon, where there were technical limitations in how it could tell its story. But the you know, Halo 4 is an example, like the AI descending into rampancy. Halo 4 was a metaphor for, like, dementia. You know, Cortana basically was, like, you know, somebody, you know, because the game director on Halo 4, his mother had dementia when he was working on it, and so he wanted, like, Halo 4 to be kind of like a creative outlet for what he was going through. And so that was the big focus of Halo 4, was just the dementia allegory, with an AI kind of going crazy at the end of its life. But with Marathon, the AI going crazy was one part of it. It was more interested in the idea of, like, an AI becoming enlightened. You know, like at the end of its life, or not the end of its life, but just kind of like malfunctioning, going crazy, becoming insane, and then eventually kind of like going so crazy that it came back around to being a supremely intelligent being. Was his mommy sexy like Halo 4 Courtney? I'd hope not, because, you know, that's is probably the dumbest creative decision, was the Halo 4 Cortana design, like, because it's just like, how can I take this seriously? How can I take this sincerely? When, like, Cortana was designed like that. That was so stupid. There is one consistent aspect in Marathon. It's each sequel retconning the prior game's ending. I wouldn't be surprised if a Marathon 4 did the same. Oh man, that would be funny. Well, to be fair, Marathon now has alternate timelines, so Marathon, the new Marathon, the extraction shooter, could totally just be set in an unrelated timeline. That's not Cortana, that's Courtney Cox. Yeah. Halo 4 Cortana is just stupid. It's like great intentions, but why'd you guys have to be horny? You just completely undermined any interesting story you were going to tell by, like, making her look like that. Because then it's like, oh, you guys aren't taking Cortana seriously either. Do you get tired of multiverses and alternate timelines? When it's not used creatively. And a lot of modern media does not use multiverses or multiple timelines creatively. Because it usually uses it almost like a toy, like as an excuse to have a different toy. I think of, like, Marvel. Not Into the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse is fine. Even though that is also like a toy commercial, you know. all those different Spider-Men. But I'm thinking of, like, we've got Jim from The Office as Mr. Fantastic. And using it as kind of like a get-out-of-jail-free card for, like, consequences. But a Marathon, I think, handles the idea of alternate timelines pretty well. Is it just me, or did Cortana not feel like Cortana in Halo 4? It's not just you. It also, like, you know, Cortana's, like... Cortana is insanely confident in herself. And very much, like, for every, like... For every wall that Master Chief can punch down or shoot down with a rocket launcher, Cortana can have an incredibly funny comment about it that is like a compliment to the Chief, but also like a knock on the fact that it's just he's got like the subtlety of a boulder. You know, like, that's why they're such a good couple, is it's Cortana's quips about how loud, annoying, and destructive you are, while also totally still being supportive. And then in Halo 4, it's just like, she looks like that, and she's like, oh, help me, John. I'm so dainty. And it's just like, what? This is weird, you know? It's just like, it makes me look at the artists weirdly. And the writers, the narrative writers. Like, I look at them weird. Because of how they wrote Cortana in Halo 4. To be honest, Durandal is closer to the series' protagonist than Mjolnir 54. Yeah, Marathon is like an interesting situation where the main character is not actually the one you're playing as. And it'll be interesting to see what, like, current Bungie does with the Marathon story. Like, how they do it in this extraction shooter. Because there is actually potential for the Marathon extraction shooter to be super interesting, because it's like the guy you were playing as was never the main character anyways. Pretty telling with Durandal being the Marathon rep in Quake Champions Doom Edition. Oh, is like Durandal like commanding like a robot body or something? I am ordering you to surrender that AI. To be honest, a lot of characters were not acting like themselves in those games, like Master Chief. Yeah, and as well as like Master Chief, you know, just there's this one line in Halo 4 that actually really bothers me. And it doesn't bother me because it's like badly delivered or doesn't make sense. Because like it definitely makes sense within the context, and Steve Downes did it very well, but it's like I'm kind of coming to it from like the perspective of like, that's not a thing Master Chief should ever say. Ever. Because it sounds silly coming out of Steve Downes' vocal cords. And it's when Master Chief puts, like, Cortana into, like, a Forerunner thing, and then she's there, and she's like, come get me. And, you know, Chief's about to, like, pull the AI chip out of the thing and put it back in his helmet. And then, like, the pedestal gets evaporated, and Chief gets thrown back. And then Master Chief yells out loud. Steve Downes yells, Cortana! Like, basically like that. And that maybe wasn't, like, smart. Don't make Steve Downes yell in anguish, Cortana! A fully synthetic Mjolnir Battleroid, correct. That's cool. Does it have like the Marathon logo over its faceplate? Yeah, so maybe it's just me, but if anybody else remembers that moment in Halo 4, that is like one of the worst. It's top definitely top 3, if not the worst moment. The worst thing Steve Downes has ever had to say as Master Chief. Another one is actually from Halo 5, which is, help me, I'm down, my armor's locked up. That's also another one where it's like, don't have Master Chief, like, groveling for help. I guess, like, not that, like, Master Chief can't be vulnerable, you know, but it's like, don't have him, like crying for help. That's very unbecoming of Master Chief. One bit of dialogue that is perfectly fine, but the delivery is a little bit odd, is actually from Halo 1. It is probably just me, okay? It's a very funny line because of how Steve Downes recorded it, and it and the audio mixing in Halo 1, the music's too loud, and I think Steve Downes, when he recorded it, he stepped away from the microphone accidentally while he was talking. So it's a... when Cortana is like, did you sleep well? And then Steve Downes, he's like, no thanks to your driving. Yes. And it's just like you can barely hear. He says yes so softly, and you can barely hear it because of how loud the audio mixing is. No thanks to your driving. Yes. It's just like, you want to do that one more time, Steve? Like, maybe a little bit louder near the end? And step a little bit closer to the microphone, buddy. Oh, man. Oh, Halo 2 Cortana has a lot of funny line deliveries because Jen Taylor was alleged... She apparently had the flu, and she had the flu, and her time window for recording dialogue, like, that was it. It was either then or never. So she had to record all of her lines for Cortana when she had the flu. And you can definitely hear it in Halo 2. Like, some of her line deliveries. She sounds so out of it, but it makes it funnier. She's like, I think of, like, when the mission starts, the Old Mombasa mission, and, you know, the level starts with, like, Chief, you know, coming out of unconsciousness, and then she's just like, hey, wake up. It's like, can somebody get Jen Taylor, like, some Tylenol? Like, she has a fever, man. It's just like hearing Jen Taylor, like, hey, wake up. I love that line delivery, too. No, it's mainly to excuse Durandal reusing Mjolnir 54 sprites. Gotcha. You might want to bring that idea up with the Sprite rework team in Quake Champions Doom Edition. Okay. I pictured, like, you know, like the iconic, like, dome helmet, and it had, like, the Marathon logo on the front, or kind of like a digitized Marathon logo. Can you show us videos of these parts you're talking about? Yeah, I probably could. Oh, and then Cortana saying sod off, because Cortana was written with the assumption that they were going to do a British accent for her, so she's toady about. And then she says sod off, like she says all these weird Britishisms. We went from playing Marathon to just ranting about Halo lines. And hey, we're having fun. Here, let me pull up the no thanks to your driving. Yes. Let me pull up that chief line. I love that one. I love that one a lot. Halo CE cutscenes. Bum bum bum. Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Again, the music's so loud. Bum, bum. No thanks to your driving. Yes. Na-na-na-na. You can barely hear him. Here we go. What the hell is this?
Well, that's it then.
Hang on, I'm skipping through.
This is gonna be your lucky day.
Here we go. Hang on.
Captain Keys.
Hang on.
No thanks to your driving. Yes.
Those odds, I'm content with 3. Make that 4 kills. Sleep well?
No thanks to your driving. Yes.
I love that line. No thanks to your driving. Yes. Like just one more time, Steve. Put a little bit more heart into the yes. God, I could quote Halo Combat Evolved all day. Somebody, oh my God, let me see if I can find now the, hey, wake up. Because that is a good idea, sourcing it into a alarm. Halo 2, Cortana, hey, wake up. And she also apparently, Jen Taylor in the recording booth, she had like a little pen, you know, because she was writing notes on like her script as she read it. And she just Jen Taylor just like in a weird fever, just like tapped the microphone itself. She tapped it with her pen. So in the game you can hear like the hey, wake up. Here we go.
Hey, wake up.
Shake it.
Hey, wake up.
I love that line so much. Tick, tick, tick. Hey, wake up. This poor Jen Taylor. Going back to the body of Cortana, oof, that's a weird way to start a sentence. I do think it's strange to say that that I just stopped paying attention to it after Halo 3. It's like Dr. Girlfriend. It's hard to not notice in Halo 4 what like the artist did with Cortana's design. And I am very grateful that they walked that back with Halo 5. And that with Halo Infinite, they came up with kind of like a new evergreen design for Cortana that is sort of like a combination of her Halo 2 and Halo Combat Evolved design, while also like not, you know, not being obviously like gooner eye candy. Like she now, it's like, oh, okay, they're taking her a little bit more seriously as a character. Like, when you use the RPG, you always aim at them instead of their feet. What are we talking about? I'm gonna be honest, Miranda thought she was the main character in Halo 3. Oh, with her "to war" line? Yeah, that line's not great, but it's also, definitely not the worst line in all of Halo. "To war" is like a fine line. It's cheesy, it's corny. Interesting, but fine way to cap off that cutscene. I liked the weapons design. The weapons design was very good. What do you think of 343's Covenant designs? 343's Covenant designs are like, you know, not how I would design the Covenant, but I get what the intentions were. which was, they were trying to basically kind of really focus on like that beetle insectoid, like you were supposed to get the impression that like Covenant stuff was grown rather than like built or forged with like foundries and metal, you know. Like looking at like some of the Covenant weapons, some of the Covenant aircrafts, definitely the armor for like the elites, the jackals and stuff. It's supposed to be like the alloy that the Covenant used was grown, and then kind of like molded and sculpted into armor for them to wear, and it does kind of look like that. So it's almost like they're like armored up insect alien creatures, and that was the aesthetic they were trying to go for with the Reclaimer saga, as well as, you know, trying to make the individual creatures more disgusting. Like, you know, Bungie, they very much had, like, you know, you had Shi Kai Wang, who brought a lot of that, like, kind of anime flair of, like, exaggerated proportions, creatures that were, like, cool, scary, you know? In, like, that very anime way. Where, you know, like, the elites had, like, narrow waists, broad shoulders, big muscles, but they were also, like, slender and moved really fast, where with 343 there was a lot more of, like, a typical Western art direction for the aliens, where they are a lot more kind of, like, photorealistic and bulky and monstrous. Yeah, that was mostly the design. And then in Halo 4, the reason that I'm trying to think, the plasma pistol, the Phantom, the Banshee, the Ghost, as well as a couple other things, the reason that those are just using Reach models, it wasn't because, like, they wanted to. It was due to those models being very optimized for the Xbox 360 hardware. Like, the original plan was that Halo 5 plasma pistol redesign, that was going to be in there for Halo 4, but, you know, for the 360, like, they were pretty much hitting a lot of their performance budgets, and, like, optimization really came down to the wire. And so a lot of those Reach assets, they ran well. They low poly counts, but with designs that evoked more detail than was actually on the model. So it was like, you know what, just keep the Reach stuff. We're gonna give the rest of the Covenant arsenal this artistic makeover for the next game on the next hardware. And that's why with Halo 5 they like rounded it out. You know, they got to the plasma pistol, they got to the Phantoms, Banshees, Ghosts, etc. I actually liked the aesthetic of the Banished more than the Covenant. Which Banished do you like? Because the Halo Infinite Banished are very different from the Halo Wars 2 Banished. Here, let me scroll up and see if I missed any supers. I hope not. I want to know who modeled the Halo 5 MA5B. Oh, that's, I don't think it was Andrew Bradbury? I don't think that's the guy who modeled it. Halo Combat Evolves Cortana. CE Cortana's tomboy hair was the best, don't at me. Oh, like the little spiky haircut that she had in Halo Combat Evolved. Yeah, that was cool. And it was also cool when Cortana got really big in Halo 1. Remember when Master Chief put her into the computer? Forerunner computer, and she got fucking massive and was like towering over him. And like her eyes were crazy, and her like hologram was like changing colors, and it was like, oh boy, is she okay? Halo Wars 2 Banished seem more unique. Yeah, the Halo Wars 2 Banished, they were primarily inspired by like think of like ancient Rome. Like not necessarily like the aesthetic, but the kind of metal and the kind of vibe of like lots of metal plates, lots of squares and triangles and spikes and spines. You know, and just kind of like that bronze look of like the metals of that time period, like the kind of like rough looking, like it's not very shiny, it's kind of dulled, lots of micro scratches on it. And then the vibe was supposed to be kind of like, you got the impression that the Banished would, you know, and they showcase it actually really well in that Halo Wars 2 cutscene when Atriox's two brutes force open a door, and Atriox, you know, goes into like a Covenant foundry, and you see rows and rows and rows of Covenant ghosts, Covenant banshees and stuff like that. And then the next scene are those ghosts, and the fronts of them have been completely ripped out, and they've got just like these massive metal plates welded to them, and there's like these hooks and weird things on the wings and stuff like that. And that's the vibe that the Banished were supposed to go for, is like they take stuff and then kind of like, you know, if it's a piece of Covenant technology, you think of how like beautiful and ornate they look, and they just like rip off all that purple shit and expose the wiring underneath, and then, you know, like get the rivets and start drilling metal plates onto it. Like, this shit needs to be armored up. The Covenant stuff, it was too weak. And then, you know, if something broke on the way Jeremy Cook described it to me, what he was thinking about when designing the Banished was some of the heavier stuff, like the Wraith. How it looks like it's got plates on top of plates, or the chopper, especially the Banished chopper in Halo Wars 2. It's like, it looks like a ball of tinfoil. Like, it's just got so much crap welded on it, because it's been ramming things repeatedly over and over again, constantly getting damaged, and so new metal is just bolted on top of old metal. And so you were supposed to get the idea of the like layers and layers of armor. Like, the Banished just kind of like use things until they're unusable, and if there's a hole, they just bolt some metal to cover up the hole. You know, and that's the way they worked. They didn't really care about, like, their aesthetic was almost like accidental. Like that scrappy, like porcupine-like look that a lot of their vehicles had. It was just because of how much armor they were constantly having to re-weld over their vehicles as they got damaged. I like both the manufactured and scavenged Banish. Yeah. And then for Halo Infinite, the goal was to kind of go back to the classic designs for a lot of the creatures, which, you know, is tough because they're not Covenant, they're Banished. So you have to find this, like, kind of balance. And so what they wanted to do then was, rather than go with... Because here's also the problem, and it's a problem that we can look at with the Phantom, you know? A lot of the Banished stuff in Halo Wars 2 looks great from overhead view, but it will not look very good in first person. It'll look very kind of like weird in first person. Think of like the Wraith, you know, like the spikes on the Wraith are really cool and everything in Halo Wars 2. Could you imagine like the functionality nightmare that would cause in a first person shooter? Like, could you imagine, think of like just like weird moments where a physics object just kills you in Halo, and you're like, what did I do? You know, or like a vehicle is moving just a little bit too slow or a little bit too fast, you know, and it taps you and you die. Those spikes jutting, those are 3 large objects jutting out of the vehicle, even when it's stationary, that you have to kind of worry about. Are you going to be running up to the Wraith to get into it, and then you get caught on the spikes and you're kind of like hopping in place a little bit? You know, the funky stuff that happens with the Halo engine. You know, as well as like the kind of like very bumpy surfaces. It's a lot harder to walk along them, like, you know, hopping onto the Wraith and walking up to the turret seat or the driver's seat, stuff like that. So it's like some redesigns did have to happen. As well as the fact that, you know, some things like the Phantom, which weirdly did not get redesigned, they don't look too good in first person. They look like little Lego pieces. You know, and for Halo Infinite, the Banished, they wanted to convert some of those designs to be easier on the eyes in first person, as well as trying to evoke nostalgic feelings for, like, I recognize that thing. That thing's, like, you know, that thing dates back many years, like that piece of technology. Like the choppers in Halo Wars 2, they look like Halo 3 and ODST choppers, you know, but they're banished up. Like, you could even maybe think that those things were literally part of Truth's invasion of Earth. And the Banished probably found a couple of them, you know, painted them red, got some new materials on it. As well as another artistic thing that Halo Infinite's art team really stressed, as well as some of the designers, which was they wanted to go with clean, readable silhouettes. To the point that they were even, like, they were, like, meticulous about how grime should be layered onto the surface of, like, metal. Like, they were studying, like, you know, in Halo 5, like, when you go into Forge, you know, and you apply grime, and it's kind of like this layer that is plastered across the metal surface. They designed it so that grime would form around the corners and the edges of surfaces, leaving, like, the center clean, kind of. That way there could be such an emphasis on, like, you know, clean plates, not a lot of visual distractions, and kind of, like, more an emphasis on silhouettes. That was one of the big artistic pushes for Halo Infinite. Whether it was a success or not, you know, is up for debate, but that's what inspired that look. It works, in my opinion. The Banished, canonically, being a hodgepodge of mercs, criminals, and other minor factions, allows them to have colorful assortments of troops. Yeah, as well as, like, you know, for first-person purposes, it's good to have, like, the different colors. And for Halo Infinite's sake, I think the coloration of the troops, like, Halo Infinite is the first game since, like, Halo 2 where you can, like, corner of your eye tell what a troop's rank is, what it's going to do, and what it's going to take it down, you know? You see those red elites? Boom, I know exactly what their shield strength is like. Or the red brutes, you're like, got it. One of them's going to have a rocket pack. You know, the yellow ones, it's like, oh boy, here we go. Like, the elites are going to have the swords. The brutes are going to have the shields. Like, it's so easy to tell what they are from a distance because of how strong the silhouettes are in Halo Infinite and the coloration. Starting with Halo 3, Bungie started to focus more on, like, more unified colors, trying to make the Covenant uniforms look very, well, no pun intended, uniform. So you've got, like, you know, all the brute ranks, they all have, like, the color blue. The Jackal shields were changed from orange and teal to just teal and magenta, which, you know, is just blue and like super light blue, basically, almost like a pink. Like, very similar looking colors, I guess, when, you know, they're glowing really brightly because of the bloom. And then with Halo Reach, they went into, like, crazy different armors that are very detailed and very different from one another and very like ornate and extravagant looking, and they're definitely beautiful. But even to this day in Reach, I still don't quite know what the different ranks, like their strengths and weaknesses during gameplay. Still don't quite know. I mean, I know the miners, you know, because they're miners, but the white armored ones with the face plates, I don't know. I don't know what their shield situation's like. I don't know what rank they're kind of serving. They look cool though. And then Halo 4 and 5 carried that on with the, you know, going into the beetle-y insectoid thing where it looked very, very, like an army of bugs, and they all have these dark colors, like slimy, dark, wet textures on their armor, and it does kind of suck that the Jackals and the Elites, it's cool for a bit of world building that the Jackals and Elites in Halo 4 and 5, they have, like, the same armors. Just, you know, outfitted for the different body types. But from a distance, it does mean sometimes, like Jackal snipers, when their eyes aren't glowing, sometimes in the heat of the moment, I can mistake them for like elites or vice versa, just because they look so similar and they've got that similar dark color. Mochi is rolling in his sand bath. Mochi. That's our hamster. We've got a little baby monitor set up in his cage so that we can, or not his cage, his house, so that we can see him whenever he moves. Introducing the Banished in an RTS was a bit of a mistake, since it was this funny lot of folks that think Banished troops should only be red, black, and gray. I mean, I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was, you know, like, cool. They look striking and cool artistically. But yeah, like, definitely the same kind of, like, color sensibilities for an RTS cannot be brought over, you know, into the first person. Because then it's like, what you've got to rely on is, what does the armor look like? Like, in terms of, like, silhouette. Because the colors aren't going to give you anything. They could have used yellows and oranges for variety. Those colors are so similar, though. I don't think there's anything wrong with using blues and stuff. You know, maybe what they could do is they could have red accents on, like, the miners. You know, I'm thinking of, like, the elite miner with the blue armor and stuff. You could have some red. Just a little bit, though. Like, you know, accents to complement the armor. And you don't want to distract, you know, because the red elite, like, you do want that role to stick out. Like, oh, that's the red guy. He has more shields than the blue guy. Yeah, and if you think about it, Halo Wars 1 coveys were all purple. The FPS games were never like that. Yeah, in Halo Wars 1, all the Covenant, they were just like, they were all purple. Yes, his house is so big he has an address. 123 Mochi Munch away? Are you kidding me, babe? If I had arms long enough, I would reach all the way to New York and tickle you for that. Because that is adorable. Mochi Munch away. Maybe some kit bashed armor on top of the blue. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. That's the Banished whole thing, right? They just, like, bolt shit on top of stuff that's damaged. So you could have, like, clearly the Covenant blue armor, and then have a couple areas where it looks like maybe the arms were damaged a bit, so it's got some Banished red plates welded onto it. There you go. That's how you can get a bit of red in there, while also, you know, respecting the importance of color. Halo, Blizzard should work on a Halo MMO. Slight sarcasm. Well, I will take that seriously, just for, like, you know, interesting discussion. I don't think Halo will ever be in a position where an MMO is a viable prospect. There was that golden opportunity in the early 2000s between Halo 1 and Halo 2, where it could have happened, but it didn't, and now Halo has lost its opportunity. If a Halo MMO came out at any time in the future, even if the Halo 1 remake is good, like, great. You know, like the Halo 1 remake, everyone freaking loves it. A Halo MMO would still bomb. Because it's too late, you know? WoW. WoW is the MMO everyone plays. If you want an action shooter MMO, you go play Destiny, and even that's starting to struggle, you know? It's like, Halo's too Halo-y. It's a very specific type of... It's like science fiction. Military science fiction. It's not exactly like Final Fantasy, where you have a lot of freedom because of the semi-fantasy setting. Well, no, definitely fantasy setting, like Final Fantasy. And WoW, you know, also fantasy. Like, guys, if a Lord of the Rings MMO can't pick up steam and flops, like, no. Halo will never, ever have a successful MMO. That's why I always championed unified ranking systems for all enemies in a faction. Blue, red, and white for minor. Major and ultras. All black spec ops, etc. Well, it's interesting because Halo Infinite does actually do something that is kind of fun. For the grunts and jackals specifically, which is there's that purple rank. So, like, miners can sometimes... Jackal miners in Halo Infinite can sometimes have purple rather than blue. And grunt miners, they can sometimes come in blue, but, you know, mostly orange. And it's, I think, done for just, like, variety, like visual variety, you know? That way it's not like you can have a squad of grunt miners and they aren't all orange. Like, they aren't all the exact same shade of orange. Like, you've got a little bit of color variety in there to kind of mix things up. How optimistic are you about Halo's future now that Halo Studios is moving to Unreal Engine 5? I want to be hyped, but I'm not fully convinced. Yeah, like, obviously, you know, it's going to be there. Like, a little bit of that hesitation to get excited again. I think Halo will be fine. I think the next Halo will be fine. What I'm more worried about for the next Halo, I think the direction will be a little bit more solid. And I think the actual content will probably be a little bit more realized, and there will be a bit more of it because they won't have to work within the constraints of slip space. But what I'm more worried about actually is the technical quality of the next Halo game. Because Unreal Engine 5, it's got a lot of problems. A lot of problems. It's crazy how Sonic held more attention than Halo over the years, even with the downfall of Sega. Well, I think that's... So, it's because Sonic's been a lot, like, louder and more embarrassing, unfortunately. But also, partially because Sonic appeals to kids. And kids, specifically the age group where they are too young to realize that a game is embarrassingly bad. You know? We're like Halo, a little bit older, so there's a little bit more room to be like, I'm gonna go play Roblox, or I'm gonna go play Fortnite. Like, Halo seems boring. You know, with Sonic, it's just, I'm 5. I love Sonic. I'm gonna wear my Sonic t-shirt to my preschool photo day. That's why Sonic stays more relevant than Halo. Grunt rank color variants denote weapons. Orange conscripts wield plasma pistols, blue wields needlers, purple assaults wield plasma pistols, red wields disruptors, etc., etc. Gotcha, okay. Took me a while to process that, actually, for some bizarre reason. You know what I would really like to see? I'd like to see a bit of variety in the grunt backpacks. Remember in Halo 1, and it was only for Halo 1, the grunts came in two forms. They had there was like the typical grunt that we think of, like the Halo grunt, the quintessential Halo grunt, with the triangle backpack. But then there were these weird ones that had like a shrimp-like backpack, or like a snail shell. It's really, really hard to explain. It was a cool look. And they had these face masks. They almost looked like they had little Sonic the Hedgehog masks on. And they only showed up in that one game. Sonic also outputs so much quantity that occasionally something hits and you get something good. Yeah. Sonic also is Halo struggles with being a multi, like a big property, you know, with toys, games, but also shows and stuff. Like Halo, I think its biggest success is its books. But it's really just like the games and the books. Like the toys have always struggled to an extent. The show, you know. Whereas Sonic, you had like, you know, the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, like all those different Sonic shows, you know. Sonic Underground. You had that, Sonic X, Sonic Boom, Sonic Prime on Netflix, Sonic the Breakfast Cereal, Sonic the Backpack. Chili Dog, Sonic the Hedge says. He does say that. That's my favorite. That's you know, Sonic's famous catchphrase is he just yells "Chili Dogs." Halo 2 had the Heretic grunts with the VATs on the back. Yeah, the Heretic grunts were cool looking. The Heretics were also just like a cool looking faction in general. Sonic the Restaurant. Well, Sonic the Restaurant is unrelated to Sonic the Hedgehog. Do they really? I've never been to a Sonic. Do they really, like, come out with roller blades and bring you your food? Or is that just like a story? If someone touches you in a way or oh my god, that Sonic PSA from that old Sonic.
If someone touches you in a way or place that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's no good.
Yeah, I remember that PSA. Sonic says. Dude, Sonic Underground's theme went really hard. Wait, yes, they do rollerblades. And how have they not had a crossover with Sonic the Hedgehog? It makes me like irrationally angry that not only does Sonic the Restaurants, not only is it called Sonic, like, they also specialize in hot dog based items. It's like chili dogs. Like, are you stupid? There's money to be made here. Babe, are you okay? You've barely touched your limited edition Sonic Curry. Sonic Curry. Sonic music in general goes hard. It's the one part of the games that is always good, even the bad games. Oh yeah. God, Sonic 06 I think still has probably like one of the best video game soundtracks. I did consider color variants donating wielded weapons a la Infinite, though I'm hesitant that might overcomplicate things. Armor permutations might work better, in my opinion. Yeah, I think a balance between colors and armor permutations would help, because also, like, the more aggressive a character looks, you know? Like, something about, like, Halo Infinite that helps a lot. Like, those stealth elites, like, you know, they look cool. But also, like, they're so, like, low-key. Like, their armor is very, round and smooth, but also sharp and jet-like. And it kind of, like, it complements the blades that they use and also the more stealthy nature of, like, the rolling combat. You know, where the head crest of the yellow elites in Halo Infinite. It's like, it kind of looks like a crown a little bit. So it's like royalty, importance. Yeah, it's the yellow elite, the highest rank. Sonic 4 is the worst Sonic game because it's the only one with an altogether bad soundtrack. Yeah. Is it a bad soundtrack or is it bad instrument choices? It's blue curry that gives you spicy blue shit. Sonic is from Oklahoma. Oh, Sonic the Restaurant. I was like, the Hedgehog? So it's the most common high school job around here, including for me. Oh man. But that's like Sonic the Hedgehog. I watched the Sonic movie 1 and 2 over the last couple of days with my little Shih Tzu, because it was on Paramount Plus, and I guess it never hit me that Sonic doesn't actually look like a hedgehog, you know, because he's like a cartoon. But in the movie, it was like, I think somebody said something along the lines of, what is that thing? And then Sonic, like live action Sonic says, what does it look like? I'm a hedgehog. And I'm like, no, you don't look like a hedgehog though. Like that guy's right. Like, you've got gloves on. You have calves. Have you tried Quake Champions Doom Edition on stream before? Might be fun. We got to do that for an upcoming stream. It's a good idea, because Master Chief's in there. So that's where I can get the Halo hook, you know? The Sonic CD boss theme still follows me from my childhood. Oh, the American release where it's like really creepy. Sonic Jam has the best soundtrack. Can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up your day? Yeah, Sonic... Wait, no, that's Sonic R. Sonic Jam, which one was that? Crap, which one was Sonic Jam? Yeah, Sonic R has a good soundtrack, though. Oh, man. Sonic the Hedgehog is from Nebraska, though. Is he? No, he's not. You tricked me. He's from Christmas Island. That's where he was born. In the canon. Don't believe the lies of Sonic Prime on Netflix. Sonic does not live in Green Hill Zone. The Sonic does not come from Green Hill Zone. Canonically, according to that original manual in Japanese for Sonic on the Sega Genesis, Sonic was born on an island called Christmas Island. Yeah, Sonic Jam was the Sega Saturn compilation of the original games. That's right. Oh, and it had that, like, crazy little, like, 3D exploration thing, right? Gosh. Freaking love Sonic games. I could talk about Sonic for hours. I am getting tired, though, guys. You can probably hear it. It sounds like I'm getting, like, intoxicated. My responses are slower, a lot more ums, a lot more quiets. I only got a few hours of sleep last night, and I'm starting. I can feel it. I can feel. You know, I can see the blackness in the corners of my eyes. Sleep calls. What's going on? I'm looking at the screen right now. Is that like Mike Wachowski that we're shooting? Probably gonna read the Marathon wiki. That's like an angry frog troll. Not Chief, but Durandal and Doomslayer, yes. Okay, we can do Durandal then. That's how we can totally get, you know, the stream relevant to Halo/Bungie stuff. Yeah. Michael Kowski. Go to sleep to some Pumpkin Hill zone. No, it's just Pumpkin Hill. It's, what are the lyrics? We at Pumpkin Hill, you ready? I ain't gonna let it get to me, I'm just gonna freak. Down in Pumpkin Hill, something. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. Oh my god, okay. I'll leave you guys with this parting thing. Okay, any Sonic fans? For some godforsaken reason, in those Sonic Adventure games, like before the 4Kids cast came and replaced everybody, I don't know if it was like the voice directors, but for some reason, all the characters enunciated every part of the word emerald. So Sonic would be like, so what are you doing with that Chaos Emerald? And then, yeah, just very, very odd. It's a thing that I noticed. And then,
it's not his speed. He must be using the Chaos Emerald to warp.
And once you notice that he does that, the characters do that, it's just really odd. I don't know why they wanted them to say emerald like that. Like, they're not wrong, you know? I mean, yeah, emerald, but why? Like, Chaos Emerald. Ugh. Yeah. I'm gonna hop off now, guys. I'm gonna take the little munchkin out to pee. Then I'm going to get in the shower, and then I am going to go to the sleep zone, Act 1, Durandal edition, and have dreams of I guess frog Michael Wachowski's running around. Do electric sheep dream of Michael Wachowski? I don't know. Okay, that joke was half-baked. I'm tired. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining.